Hey everybody, Norm over here, and we got somebody who was lost on the highway there and somehow stumbled in. Old Joe, and Joe, how did that tour go, man? I heard you at the Greek, it was fantastic.
Thank you.
Band sounded great.
Amazing.
It was probably the most fun I've had on stage in a long time. It was nice to play music for people. It was nice to see everybody, nice to be seen. Our band was good. Everybody got home safe and healthy and as planned. And then now we're just waiting for October. And I think we're gonna, it'll be,
How many shows you have booked?
32. How many we get through? I'm not sure.
You optimistic.
I mean, it's the situation is ever changing as it always is. But the touring industry it's really, people are kind of inventing stuff and kind of doing it as we go, and because everybody's got to get back to work. I mean,
imagine the guys playing these small clubs. I mean, their income at any moment could be shut off, and those guys don't have the luxury of playing outdoors in a big amphitheater. Or whatever.
Yeah, and what you don't realize is the very first show we did outside was in Paso Robles, and as we're driving out, and you see 15 or 20 people with batons, and they're ushering cars out.
I had a hard time
and at the Greek Theater, and the ticket takers and the people that do the concessions and the whole economy of a gig.
It was almost back to normal for a brief moment.
You could pretend it was it. And the thing is, what you don't realize is the economy around shows. You go to the Maui Sugar Mill. People are gonna go to that little diner next door.
Yeah.
We always end up at that diner.
Sure.
Patronize the diner, or you go out for dinner before you go to the gig, and all of that's related to a show or a Broadway or a movie. And so to see it start to scale and come back, which is nice to see, and it was nice to see the support from the fans who, a lot of those shows we did this summer were rollovers from last year, and people remembered, and so I'm very blessed and very, very grateful for that. And
one thing that was a little unusual is, I ended up buying one of your T-shirts, one of the ones that had your picture on the front.
You don't have to buy that crap.
No. Listen,
it's not crap.
I bought 16.
Good
they're great
stuff.
shirts, by the way. 16 tickets for a lot of people around here. I wanted to support the band too, because the band, everybody's been, in that spot, where, everybody should support music and everybody should do what they need to do to try to keep these musicians working. We got to all cooperate together, or we go by the way the dinosaur. Dinosaurs once ruled the earth.
Right.
Maybe they didn't cooperate with each other.
And it's a very difficult aspect of the music business to be in is live performance, because it really is a gathering by nature, and it's encouraging to see people. The demand is coming back. It's encouraging to see people are
dying,
having.
They're foaming at the mouth, waiting to get in,
and they're having fun, and they appreciate the night out. So that was a great run for us.
So the reason I brought up the shirt is I pulled out $35 to hand them in cash. To hand them in cash, and they wouldn't take cash. And that's a very unusual situation for those concerts, because that's what happens. Is people buy. They looked at me like I was an alien when I tried to hand them cash.
I have a weird tick. Like, I will not pay for Starbucks or coffee. I only pay cash, and I really shouldn't. But I pay cash. It's been something I've done my whole life. And you hand a $20 bill. And you're like, what is this? What is this cash
is that
thing?
Currency?
What is this paper? But no, it's interesting to see the paradigm shift happening, and quickly.
Yeah.
And it'll I think it'll work itself out by the end of the year, and there'll be a more of a protocol, or more of a just a kind of, this is when we do X, Y happens, and vice versa. What do I know? I just play guitar. I can't predict anything.
All these guys like Chris Kane, who's so great, Josh Smith, Craig Fletcher, all those guys that are used to playing in small venues and all that. It's really rough on them, man, because if those things close down again, they don't generally have the backup to kind of cover it.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's not only that, it's the actual venue itself, which provides a stage and a farm system for a lot of people like myself to basically to get to the point where you can draw more people. And without that farm system, without that locality and local support, it's more difficult by far than if you were just trying to get people to come out. It's hard to get people to come out in the best of times. So it's now it's particularly challenging. So
these guys could end up as stockbrokers or something like that. You know, if they can't get the gigs going.
Come on,
or probably working in the gas station or something.
That sounds better.
That sounds better.
These are not direct descendants of Albert Einstein.
No, but you know, we all dedicate. You know, one of the things that we all dedicated our life to playing guitar.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought?
And making music and being around music and musicians and everything. And one of the things that cannot be overlooked and has to be addressed is the fact that what everybody does can't be dismissed as a hobby. Oh, this is just a phase that you're going to go through until you know. I told a really bad joke, and I'll probably get a lot of shit for this, but we were in San Diego. We opened up all the venues in California. We were the first act in.
So cool.
And yeah, it was really nice. And I was, you know, just being me, you know, always with a smart, you know, remark. And we were playing the Civic Theater down in San Diego, and the guy comes out and he's like, "Welcome back," and stuff like that. And I just was like looking around and I go, you know, one day, man, this is going to make a great Amazon warehouse. And the look on his face, because he thought I was serious, I'm like, I'm glad you're reopening. We're happy to be here. You know?
You got to have a sense of humor.
You got to have a sense of humor.
Otherwise, we'll all be crying.
Oh, exactly. Because, you know, to see it, you know, these beautiful theaters that have just laid dormant, and some of them are not coming back, and some of these venues are not coming back. And, you know, I mean, you're looking at everything from, I mean, just in our little town of Los Angeles. I mean, the Troubadour's hanging on by a thread. You know, Greenblatt's is closed. Who would have thought Greenblatt's is closed?
I know. I just saw that satellite close. All these venues.
And you're just sitting there going, okay, it's like there's a point where it's critical mass, you know, and it's, you know, now's the time to address that. So anyway, I'm glad to be here.
All I can say is you never would have known at the night of the show, we had a blast.
We did.
You guys sounded terrific, and play us a couple notes on this thing, just so.
If I play notes on it, doesn't mean I have to buy it.
Yeah.
It's not tuned, but no, this is a nice dot neck. I want to play
one.
I have one that I play on the roads. These are. I bought a bunch like this from you.
You have one from every outfit.
I know. It's not an SG. I only play SGs now.
By the way,
exclusive SGs.
I would call Joe and I'd say, "Hey, Joe, I got a really cool SG for you." He'd go, "You know, I hate SGs." All of a sudden at the show, he pulls out an SG. You know, I'm going, "What?"
I could never figure out, for me personally, how to get the tuning was a challenge on some of them.
Right.
The stability of the
sure.
One of them has that sideways thing, and the other thing was the difference in brightness between a Les Paul and an SG. And I figured out, I was like, you know, practice what you preach, Bonamassa. So I rolled the tone down to 5 on the bridge pickup, and that's where I start as a bass line and pretend 5 is 10. And for some reason,
there it was. Huh?
And for those particular songs, the SG was like the star, and I was like. Now you can sell me more SGs.
All right.
I've granted you permission.
And I just want to say one thing. When we're not talking here on camera, we're all carrying our masks.
Exactly.
So, and these go right back on after this. So, guys, you know, just speaking for a lot of musician friends of mine, we got to all do what we got to do to try to keep this thing under control, put this fire out, because there's going to be a variant that we're not going to be able to deal with if this keeps going. So we've got to
plus everybody just wants to
bind together.
I know there's a lot of musicians that are been doing this very long time, but just really just want to get back to work.
That's right.
And that's the bottom line. It's like whatever we can do to get everybody back to work and playing and making the community stronger. You know we're about to do another round of fueling musicians.
That was great. That was a really great thing.
We did $500,000 last year. We're going to try to do another round this year because because just because you can go back to work doesn't mean there's work to be had. So
Right.
it's really
Especially
critical.
when the places are closed, now you want to go back to work and there's no place that's open to play.
Exactly. So there's a lot to the situation is, let's say, ever changing.
You know, let alone there's no record sales, and then you just have the shows, and they took the shows away too. It's a mess.
You can always busk on the street, Michael.
I know. I try.
Well, you could. He's like in the business of Godzilla shirts.
Yeah.
So you
I
know.
will start. Yeah, selling Godzilla shirts. That's all good.
This is just a phase until we all
grow up.
Yeah, this will make a nice Amazon warehouse one day too.
On that note.
We'll start packing the stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a lot of work ahead of us.
All right. Well, the great Joe Bonamassa. I was so glad to see you playing. I'm so glad to see the boys. You know, with you and the gang and Jade and and Reese and all the guys.
Michael and Greg, and it's a mighty little 5-piece band.
Yes,
so
it is. And you told me that Michael was like climbing the stage like on a riser and almost.
Oh, well,
fell
no,
off.
there was a lighting cue problem, and he's fine.
What the hell's wrong with him?
Oh, he's fine. He's in the moment. We go for it. So.
All right. The great Joe Bonamassa. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
No problem.